But having that foam in there now means I can't lose my nuts, which is always a good thing. Oh man, I can't get in there at all. Shit. Oh. I had this big plan to get all of these things done in like the first 5 to 10 seconds of the video, but I just welded the screw that like the retaining screw to the bracket. Whoops. All right, I got it out. Get back to it. Nice. Check. There we go. There was a bit of time spent messing around with this because there is still a gap on the sides, no gap in the middle. I tried closing it, I tried doing some adjustments on the little box sections, but there isn't any. There isn't any on the little plastic bits that get screwed to the bumper either. Went online, looked at the parts breakdown, there is a seal. One piece that goes from here to about here, same on the left, and then a centerpiece. And genuine is $420 for all three, which I don't really have that kind of cash to spend on something that I don't particularly need right now. I could get a generic one, or I can just kick the whole can down the road, and when it comes to final assembly, I'll write the part numbers down, be aware that I'm gonna need them for final assembly. Maybe I'm in a different or a better finance situation, and I'll just pick them up then. So I know about it, there is a gap, but I know the fix and we can deal with that later. For now, we need to get these two pieces mounted, because once they're hard mounted, then we can worry about the join in the middle. So let's get that sorted. But to do that, we need to take the bumper off and then head over to the bench. So we've got to mount these two to the bumper. So we need to work out how to attach the lower lip that we've cut up from a Mr. Body Kit's body kit and attach it to the genuine M3. There are holes on the genuine M3 which are where the normal lip would attach to, and I think if we can try and use them, that would be the best idea. But working out how to do that is the question. We've got some 0.9 stainless steel sheeting, and firstly, we already know they have to get attached in the corner. So if we drill a hole, put a little nut and a bolt or something like that in the corners, then that is exactly where they're going to go. I then think we need to work out where, actually, that means I do want to do the join first, because everything else can move. Once we attach the ends, then I think we go into the middle. We get that attached properly, and then that kind of sets there. Sick. Good chat. Thanks, everyone. So let's just do that. Let's swing it around, work out how to get the corners attached in nice firmly. We'll come to the middle, probably cut out a piece of plate, fold it all nice and neat so it's in the exact profile of the lower lip, and then make it so it can return under and have a captured nut in the back. Bang, sick. Let's get this attached. In the previous episode, I cut this completely wrong and I regret it, but there's not much I can do about it now. So we just want to make it so it's pushed up, so it's hitting the bottom and then brought in, and that's where we want to fix it. And I wish I had more meat that was coming around the side here. We could do maybe slide nuts over here and then just 2 screws. And I mean, we may still do that. Where did I put those bits of offcut? Having a think about it, I think the easiest option is going to be to just put that back. So I've got a little offcut of one of the bits that we cut off the bumper. I think if we V out both sides and then hot staple them together, we'll be able to use the Terrason PU9225 to then fill in the gap, and then we'll take it off, do the other side, because then we can just get a, where Where are they? Speed nut, slide nut. Actually, not that one. We'll be able to get a speed nut or a slide nut. Put that on. Maybe not that one. That one's real tight. Slide it on, bolt through the back. So we're going to V out. So when we do use the PU225, got a little bit more meat in there. I'll do that to both of them, and then glue it all together. Little staple gun, so it's going to heat it up, runs a current through it. Definitely don't touch it, and now that I think about it, I might just put some gloves on. Staple's eventually going to change color, maybe. Yep, all right, it's smoking. You can only see my head. God damn. Try and get you a good view of at least one, eh? Oh, that's zoomed in. One day I'll know how to use a camera, I promise. That's a filthy lie. That looks real good, and that isn't a filthy lie. So now we trim all of them off, and I can just sand it back and fill them up, and then trim that off, and now we've got somewhere to mount the sides to. Well, on this side, I still need to do the other side. Close cuts, so we can cut it real close. No, we can't, because they are stainless steel, and I just completely destroyed the tip of my close cuts. Sweet! Let's try the ones that came in the kit. Safety glasses on. Ooh. I can't show you this because they are like little bullets. Because it's only soft plastic, we're only going to use 120 grit discs. Merca, of course. VR10 again. Now we can mix up some 9225, jam it in there, let it set. That worked extremely well. So now I have something that can hook around the back. We can put the speed nuts in, mark it, drill the holes through the next spot. I've already cut it so they just finish at the right spot as well. And I mean, that's a pretty good fix, and it's a really good practice for what I'm gonna have to do when it comes to the joining, which I've got a nifty little idea. We'll get to that in a second. Let's get the backs mounted and then go from there. We've got these screwed in at the back. That's perfect. There's still probably a little bit of cleaning up that we need to do, but we can do that later on. We now need to work out how we're going to attach it, and we've got these holes all along the front bumper. So this one had one of those lips. I wish it came with it, but it didn't. So I've done some messing around already. I kind of already figured out how it's going to work, but I'm not going to show you. We're going to do a little montage of some cutting, some grinding, some welding, then maybe a little bit more cutting. Battery's about to die, but I just did that for texture, so when you're gluing it together, it gets a good bond.
Job's done.
And I had already made one previously to confirm that it was going to work. It's already attached to part of the lip, but it's only done with like blue tack or white tack, beige tack. I'm colorblind, so I can't really tell. But anyway, it's temporary, but it is in the correct position. So I had it bolted in, and these two need to be done first because they're pulling it around, and we need to close up the gap to what it's going to be before we can fill the gap. I have also put a lock nut on the bottom of that, so that sets how much it's pulling in and then holds it rigid. So if I didn't put that in there, when I tighten it up, it's just going to pull that off of the plastic, which we don't want. We want that to stay like glued. So with all of that said, I now need to sort out this on the other side with some blue tack, mark around them, sand it back, so we don't just get a good bond, we get the best bond.
I'm glad to hear that.
We're going to glue those corner ones in first, PU9225, the old Terracin, but we're going to use the SF because that sets in about 90 seconds. So I can put the screw in, put a good amount of glue on the back of it, bolt it in where it needs to go, pull it around, and then I'm just going to hold it there. I can't get clamps on there. I can't do it any other way. So I'm just going to hold it there with the clamps, these bad boys. I'm going to cut the tack out around and then score into the plastic. So then I'll still be able to see where it needs to go. So yeah, you can see that. Yeah, I need to sand that bit with 80 grit. Mirka don't use grit as much anymore. It's more of a one paint removal. So in a process, step 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. We're going to use a 1, so then that's like harsh. Washer. Probably want to mix some glue up. I need to do this all in the correct order. Have the glue ready. Do the screws in from behind. And then push it around. And I just want to stand here for like 90 seconds. But I want to make sure I put enough glue on there that it... I think before we do this, so VR155, which is a plastic primer. Let's just prime both of the pieces. I'm going to film this, but it could go wrong. Oh, this isn't the super fast. I'm mixing the glue up down here. Wrong glue. 15 minutes, 90 seconds. We want to use the 90-second one because I don't want to stay in this clamped position for 15 minutes. Let's try that again, eh? Nope, I need to clean off that. No, I'll just use the other side. No, I should clean that off. Have anything that needs to be glued? It seems like such a waste. Now we wait. Once it sets mostly, I can undo the nut from behind and it should just sit where it needs to sit. My hand is already sore. That's where we want it, which is good because that's where it is. Looks like it's got pretty good coverage. I wonder if I can just ruin it. Nah, it's already sitting. I'm not going to touch it. I'm only going to make this worse. Nice. It's set for, say, 10 minutes. It's pretty solid already. Let's bolt it together and see if this works. Let's move the camera so I can give you a nice close-up angle of what I'm doing. Watch the gap close up as I tighten it. Oh, yes. So, there is still a little gap there, but that's because I previously cut out a little too much. So I'll have to put like a bit of stainless steel on the back and kind of fill that in. But that is now set. Fuck yes! As you can see, we're back on the car and I've put some fine line tape, Witchcraft Auto. I read your comment about using the fine line tape and I thought, you know what, I'll go out and get some. Here we are. I've also made up a little template out of a shapes box because we're cutting out a shape, but this one goes over and basically just follows the shape, the internal shape of the front lip. There is still some fine tuning when it comes to the front bit. I need to sand out a little bit more, but I think I want to get bracket here so then these two sit in the same spot. So I think this is the next next little fire to put out. Hurdle to jump, whatever. We want to cut this out of stainless steel, bend it all up, get it looking nice and neat. We want to say have 20 mil overlap on both sides, which is, we want to go 100 mil. Man, that makes it easy. And the overall length, which is why I made this, is 150. So I need to cut out a piece of stainless steel, 150 by 100, and go from there. I'm going to take this next door to the crash shop, fold it up. I'm going to leave excess both sides, just in case I make a mistake, which I'm guaranteed to. I already made the mistake. I've cut that 150, which is the folding point, when really I wanted to cut it 100 and then go that way. Ah, God damn it. Three, four, five. Okay. 0 mistakes. Well, I mean, except for the first one of the cutting it that way, yeah? Other than the first mistake of cutting it, I didn't make a mistake while I was folding it. Oh, baby. How well does that fit, eh? So now I can mark 20 mil overhang on one side, 20 mil overhang on the other side, center it where it needs to be. I can still drill a hole, speed nut, and then I have just marked where I want to cut it off on the back. So there's a hole in the bumper that I should just be able to do like a speed nut on this and maybe screw it down or work something out. But then this is attached to the lip and then also attached to the bumper for a little bit more rigidity. Sweet. So we've got the rear bolts, we've got the one screwed up inside, and now it's both connected in the middle. This plate isn't fixed off. We've still got to set a couple of things. And I mean, it's pretty good. You can see there's a small gap here, and there's a small gap here, and it's touching here. So we need to sand out some of the middle on both sides. It's probably easier to see it on this side. Little gap, touching. So you just need to clean that up, get it sitting right. But that's pretty dang close. I mean, sure, it's not genuine, but just as good in my opinion. And at least it's not fiberglass. I don't want any fiberglass on the car. Better, but it still needs a couple more mil. Might just fine tune all of this off camera because it is going to be a lot of back and forth and then come back when it's all done and neat and tidy and nice. Check, 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 check. I've had a little bit of success. And a lot of messing around, a lot of sanding and just trial and error. I've got, actually, I should go get those things. I've made some little plates here. There's the speed nut. I haven't drilled the hole in this one yet, but they are screwed to the bumper running down the face. I'm gonna put a rivet in the top, take the clamps off, rivet in the bottom, get the other side mounted with the other 3 plates, double check fitment, and then I can undo each plate one at a time, glue it on, get it all set properly. Once that's all done, we can fill in this middle section with another piece of polypropylene plastic. So let's get these drilled out, riveted on, and then go on with the other side. Woo, Reggie Didge. So I think while I'm in here, I might do 1, 2. Yeah, sick. Okay. How do I clamp it without drilling my finger as well? I feel like is the question. I want it right there. We can now make this centerpiece out of the other bumper that I've got. There are some angles that we need to just change, but most of that is set like really well. Here's to saving $13,000. Prado bumper. We need to work out how much we need to cut and what we're going to be using. And I think it's probably like this section. I should be able to measure up and then down and then just fold, put the bends and the curves in as we go. I think before I do that, while it is one piece, I'm just going to strip all of the paint off this face and the lower face. I think I might need to do this once or twice just to get the hang of it. Maybe the second time it works well. Maybe I have to do it a third time. Who knows? But let's strip the paint, mark out a 70 mil strip, cut that out, and then see if we can form it around that metal plate. That's why I did the metal plate first, so then I can push it onto the metal plate as we go. Sweet.
Surprise, surprise. Workshop Lewis forgot to turn the microphone on for the next couple of videos, so you're going to have to listen to a smooth voiceover from Office Lewis. The first thing he needed to do was make a template out of a shapes box so he could then transfer the exact width onto the piece of plastic he had just cut out. So he made the template, marked it out, cut out any excess that was on the plastic, and sanded the excess down to the outside marks of the template.
Yeah, that goes right there and now fits in all the way around. I've got some marks of where I need to fold it, but I think the first thing we need to do is trim the bottom and get the bottom set, because then we can just hold it there, heat the bits up and fold it over as we go. I feel like I should have left that longer so I had more holding force. Like I'd be able to hold it further back and get the leverage to bend it around, but I mean, we'll see. Ah! I can't get it too hot, otherwise it just melts like pretty badly. I think it's a very fine line between malleable and like too soft. I was kind of hoping that I could get detail into the plastic. Probably misplaced hope to a certain degree, but this front piece is really two small radiuses with a flat in between. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that to work the same as the bumper, which means we are going to need to use some kind of filler, which I mean, we're going to use that anyway, but I was hoping to use it just as filler, not to like set detail. Pretty good. I'm definitely going to need to use the plastic epoxy, the Ep55. Nice sharp line on the front and then to follow the lines out right on the edge. That's nifty. I am going to drill and rivet it all down, and I think I probably need to sharpen that angle just because that's where it wants to sit. But we want the top sitting down, and then, yeah. All right, so sharpen this angle, but that's basically done. That was the first one, didn't make any mistakes. There are some little nicks where I heated it up too much and then probably just brushed it past the heat gun and like that, but who cares? So I'm gonna mess around with this a little bit more off camera, and then I'm not sure what I'm doing because this is all I had planned for the day, but there's plenty to do. How sick does that look? Way cheaper than the other option, even though I did spend like probably a week messing around with it. There are two more points that I'm gonna do a mounting for, either side here and here. It's just a little soft. I don't want it to rattle or vibrate, but I'm gonna do that off camera. Now that I've got two rivet points, it really can only go back in one spot, but we need to make sure that it's all nice and neat on the bumper. That is sick though. I am super happy with how this turned out. Oh, also, I'm going to make up a little jig with the correct drilled hole in a piece of stainless steel so I can hold it over it, countersink the plastic, so then the rivet heads are just below the plastic, and then we'll be able to fill over the top of them. They'll just give a little bit more strength than just gluing it all together. Since I last recorded, I think I've spent maybe another full day messing around with it, trying to get it absolutely perfect. There is a spot in the front bit here in between the main mounting point and the side mounting point where it just isn't strong enough. I've put another bit of stainless steel that isn't going to be attached to the bumper, but it just makes the plastic a little bit more rigid. Outside of that, I think I just send it. I've got to take one side off, undrill all of the rivets, undo the 2 screws at the back and the bolt on the rear as well. Sand everything back, prime it, do the same thing to each of the metal plate, and then glue it all back on in its exact position like this. Let's do it. We need to glue these onto here. And really, I mean, I've marked around the outside. The rivets are in a really specific spot. I can probably do it all just as it is. I shouldn't really need to mess around with it too much. You know what? Let's just do that. And that goes there. So this is that extra piece of metal that I was talking about, just to give the bit, this bit in between this mount and this mount. I'm just going to glue that in there. Cool. Focus! God, I hate cameras. Come on! I am not a camera guy. No, 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 no. There we go. Was that filming? Yes, it was. One done. I'm gonna do the other one off camera. At the start of it, I showed that I was countersinking the plastic. I drilled the hole in the metal a little bit deeper, just so the heads of the rivets are under the plastic, and now I can just fill over the top of them. I'm gonna have to drill the heads off of these too. They're a little bit high. Yarg! Battery didn't die this time. My memory card was full. So, this is all glued in, we're riveted in. I've just filled the holes. I still need to do a lot of sanding and body work, but that side is in. Now I've just got to do it to this side and then glue the center bit in. Sick. Oh yeah. So it's all been sanded. I've done a little bit of basic body work. There's still heaps that needs to be done, but I think that's good enough for primer now. Before we do that, there's a little bit more maintenance on the body that we need to do. So let me see if I can get the angle. So there is cracks in the paint going across, and they need to be sanded out. There we go. You can see it. You can see the cracks just here. They need to be completely sanded out and then primed with some plastic primer as well. There's a couple more spots here and there. There's a little crack that needs to be sanded out there. Same kind of thing on this side. Hard to get an angle of it. There you go. So I'm gonna take the lip off, sand them back, and then we can plastic prime both of them and get them both into the same color. Sick! This is the first time I'm taking it off in one piece. So let's see how this goes. Sick! That was just one of the washers falling off. There we go. That's 13 grand right there. Sure, it took me a couple of weeks to make, and I cut up like a $450 bumper, so it's not saving exactly 13 grand, but I didn't have to spend any more money, which is sick. Also, thank you very much, Terracin, because, I mean, there's a lot of epoxy in this holding it together, and they donated it all. So, thanks again. Yes. All right. Sanding out the cracks, I'm going to be starting with some 80 grit. As soon as I think I'm getting anywhere near the plastic, I'm going to swap over 120 grit. I don't want to dig into the plastic. We just want to get rid of the scratches, and then we're going to scuff everything up. I'm a little curious to see how many layers of paint are on this, so I'll count them as I sand them out and let you know. Yeah, I'm recording.
Yeah.
I've sanded all of the big stress cracks out. It is only a single layer of paint. So it was plastic, primer, paint, clear. There's still some finer details and just like little bits that are still glossy that we need to rubber over with some Scotch-Brite. I have the lip there and I have the small bits over there as well.
If you want to be a pro though, get grey green because it looks way more legit.
It doesn't.
It does.
Black always looks better.
No, grey green. All good shops use grey green.
Only use black. On the table in front of me, we've got a bunch of black parts. We don't have the lip because there's still more to do to the lip. A little bit more, not a lot. We now have everything painted in a black high fill primer. So bumper, little caps, medium caps, and even the air ducts. So we can now put all of this together. It's gonna need to come apart again eventually when we come to do bodywork, but that might be a little bit away, so we can put it all together. We do also have the foam bits that sit behind the bumper and then in front of the Rio. And then we've got the straps that strap to the front caps that go to the toe point. And then a bunch of little clips, and luckily enough I bought more clips for the caps, and they're the same clips that hold these bad boys on. And then the indicators, we're going to put the indicators in as well. So we'll do this definitely isn't final assembly, we'll do an assembly, put it together, then we've got to put it on the bumper, put the lip on, and then we've got to do body work. Because I have very little experience doing body work, no, we're going to change that. Because I have no experience doing body work, I was unaware that you need to, so metal, you're better off doing epoxy, then filler over the top. With plastic, you've got to put a flexible filler over it, and then your high fill over the top of that. So I just got my processes wrong for different materials. Hopefully you have now learned that you need to do the filler first on plastic. Let's put this together. What's first? Indicators. You've already seen this. You don't need to see me do this. We'll come back in a second. The foam is genuine. So there's part numbers, left base and right base. Is that focusing properly? Yeah. Get rid of my eyes. Yeah, there we go. So these are genuine. These, you can still just buy them brand new. Just contacted my dealership. They did have to come from Germany. So, I mean, took me a little bit, but with enough planning, I got them in at the right time. So, I'll just give you a little look-see. They sit around the indicators and then just meet in the middle. But, I mean, you can tell they're genuine because they fit really nicely. in. And then genuine clips, part number. Got to hide my eyes from the camera, otherwise it focuses on my eyes and not the part number. I hope I got enough of these. I may need to put another order in, but these aren't a wait and see kind of product. I'd be able to order them today and get them in pretty quickly. But let's put them all in. Take you off the camera. They all fit nicely. Genuine little clips all the way across. I had to just push the body kit in bumper. I had to push the bumper in and then just poke the outer bit in first and then get the pin in. But that's all of those in the bottom as well. What do we have next? These bits in the ducts. Quack, quack. Yeah, can you see the part number? I can, just perfect. So I ordered more of these, thinking if you need them once, you're gonna need them more than once. And how many did I get? Yeah, I got plenty. In a previous episode, I showed you how to get them out. And now, because we took them out without damaging it, we can just put them back in. Pin punch on the back. Yeah, sweet. Kablamo. I'm not gonna replace that one. That one can just stay in there. And then also on this, we have, where did I just put that bag? The straps. One per panel. So I gotta work out which one's which, because there is a left and a right on each little panel. So that one is that one. And then just had to work out how these bad boys work. So there is a clip through there. These are going to slide through, but first they need to go into the bumper. So that strap goes through that hole, and then again, so it will sit like that. Yeah. And then you put it through that hole. I did it the wrong way, straight away. Just like immediately did it the wrong way. So that and that goes down. But we want that there. Does that look right? Does that look right? Yeah, that looks right. So then, strap is sitting there, and if you want to take it out, you don't lose the panel. I'm going to put the bumper down because this is real awkward. Sick. So again, fancy new clips. And then that gets pushed up there and in there. Ooh, nice. Success. Okay, but having that foam in there now means I can't lose my nuts, which is always a good thing. I need to work out how these go into here. I feel like there's a small chance something's broken off this. Like that can't be right, can it? But the barbs aren't doing anything. The barb, I need to look up these. We can put the clip in, but then the barbs aren't actually catching on anything. So these may have a little break in them. Let me go look up pictures and do some research. Just pushes in and that's it. So there is a left and a right, and I don't know which one I've got. That gets pushed in there. That gets pushed in there. I had the right one. So let's just put the other one in. Yeah, sick. That works really well. Surprise, surprise, when it's OEM. The last thing is just those caps, but we want to put it on the car, so let's put it on the car. I lied. We want to put the lip on. I've already put one coat of bodywork on there, and you can see there's still just low points here and there. We need to get rid of those, so let's mask up the bumper, put this on, tighten everything up, get it sitting exactly where we want it to sit, and then we can work out the low spots, fill it up, sand it, and then take it back to Eden's to paint this in the same high fill. That took a lot longer than I really wanted it to, but I've adjusted some of the metal plate angles and how it all screws in, and then this is getting heavier and heavier. I also put in 2 plugs at the bottom, so that plate is now attached to the bar, so that is now rigid. or ridgy-dig, as some may say. We now need to body fill this. And to do that, we are using plastic filler, covering up the brand because they don't help out. We're using plastic filler. So I think my mic died in the last take. So let's take it again. I don't know where from though. Took quite a lot of messing around to get the lip onto the bumper how I want it to fit, which is like spot on. Had a little bit of trouble down this end with one of the angles just being like slightly, battery's about to die, god damn it. I changed the battery. Then an error came up with my cards. Hopefully I didn't just lose everything I filmed on that card. Oh boy. That's not good. Oh well, let's just carry on as though it's gonna be fine. This plate's angle was incorrect. It was pulling it in too far and you could see it was pulling down just there. But we're all good. This angle is now correct, and well, correct in the sense that it's the same all the way along. We've just got to fill it. So we're going to use some plastic filler. I'm not going to show you the brand because they don't help out, but it's plastic filler. Ooh, that is slimy. Gonna have to do this a couple of times. So just assume I do this, some sanding, this, and then at the end of it, I'll go, look at this. How neat, how tidy. But that's pretty good. I'm glad Eden told me the correct process and procedure before I just rushed into it, because it will look way better now that I've done it correctly. This sucked. It didn't suck. It just took way longer than I thought. Bodywork just takes ages. I am really happy with it, but I feel like it's going to be one of those things that we take it to Eden and he goes, oh, you missed this, but oh, what about here? As far as I can feel, that's pretty good. When we spray the high fill primer onto it, if there are any waves or whatnot, it's going to show up really badly. But I need to see that to like get that brain connection. So the next step is to remove it off the bumper and do all of the prep that we need to do to it, which is a 50-50 mix of metho and water with Scotch-Brite. Scuff it up. Then we're going to clean it with a anti-static cleaner. So this is the PPG Deltron D846. These guys right here, thank you very much, as always. So this is an anti-static cleaner. So I don't know if it's still relevant, but if it was just straight plastic bumper, they get a static charge in manufacturing and you can spray it, stuff will just stick back to it. If there's anything in the air because they kind of have a positive charge to them, sticks to it, and then you've got to bodywork it again. So we're going to wipe it down with some of this. Then we're going to coat it with some plastic primer. So this is PPG's SUA 4903. Metho water, anti-static, plastic primer right before we spray the high fill on. Then we send it with the high fill. Then I bring it back here. I put it on the car and I forget about this damn lip until I need to bodywork it in the final form, which is ages away. Maybe not, we'll see. Hopefully it's not too far away. Let's do all of that stuff I just said. One lip. Now, if you're following along and you want to do something similar, might I suggest you just go to work, save up the money, and buy a second-hand one. Because this took ages. This is like 2.5 weeks of messing around. Granted, I didn't know what I was doing, and now if you've watched it, you kind of know what you're doing. Ages. Methylated spirits, yeah, we want some of that. I've got it in a paint measuring cup so I can do 50-50 properly, even though I didn't get the first part of the 50 correct. And you really shouldn't need a lot. 50-50, Scotch-Brite. I didn't sand properly right there, whatever. I didn't sand properly there. That's it. I'll get a dry rag, dry clean rag. I could just bodywork this one lip for like a week, make it absolutely perfect, but that is a waste of time currently. So that's prepped for as much as we need. We'll take it over to Eden's. We'll do the anti-static wipe down right before we do the primer. Primer sets, bang, done, paint. We're now on site in Eden's booth. Now, Eden runs his own shop. He doesn't have YouTube, so I'll put a link to his Instagram down below. Go and check him out if you want. I forgot to get a rag. Damn it, every time. Ooh, spilling it. So I did this process to all of the other parts where I'd sanded through any paint and then could see the bare plastic underneath. And now we're going to do it to this. Make this all nice, neat and clean right before we put some high fill primer on it. I hope this looks good. Sweet. Gonna give this a second to dry and then we'll do a very extremely light coat of the plastic primer. It's a dusting. You want to be real light. Do we need to wait for that to dry, or do you just paint straight away?
I have a look to you. Yes, it's a technical data sheet. You should always read it before you use a paint.
That's not going to come through on the microphone, Eden, but what he said is TDS. TDS is a technical data sheet, and basically every single paint, chemical, everything has a TDS. You should read it before you use it. Even the anti-static would have a TDS. It gives you exact, precise procedures on how to use. Read your TDS, it's actually really important. Given it a light spritzing, we're gonna wait 5 minutes and then we're gonna do the high fill over the top. Sick.
Let's slap some primer on!
You don't have a microphone on. We're not gonna leave the camera in here for painting. I don't wanna get paint on the camera. Before we get to the final shot of the bump, we need to pick the winner for last episode's giveaway. Just do it straight away. Hopefully I've got my screen region set up correctly. Sick. Okay, so Doug Bad Boss. Fine ass, not a bad ass. He's a bad boss, which arguably worse. 3983, if you can please contact me over Facebook or Instagram, shoot me a message, same name, Black Knight Creations, and we'll see if we can get this pack out to you. I'll pay for shipping. Thanks again to Terracin, Loctite, Henkel. They've been a huge help, so thank you very much. Sweet. Oh, also, thanks to all of my Patreons. Do really appreciate it. And I am very happy with how Workshop Lewis got this dang lip together. Sick. Yes. How good does that look? So there's still going to be a seal that goes in between the lip and the bumper. But boy, you can't see any waves, any ripples. How sick does that look? So, look, I kind of wish I could have afforded to buy a second-hand one or a brand new one, but you can definitely just make whatever you want out of whatever you want. That is sick.